Oh yeah, I bet it stopped. They only do it briefly. One of my solar lights again. They do this sometimes. Maybe another one will do it if they're a different sensor point. What they do is they start flickering. They go sort of, depends on the light, they tend to go a little bit strobe lighty. I mean, at the minute, big one in the middle with the dome, that's got a lithium ion battery in it. And that's quite good for staying on for years, like years and years. It's 6 years, 7 years, that's 6, 7 years old now. Same battery. All the other solar lights bloody died, got damaged by the mower, and they were out on the grass. But yeah, a lot of those cheap colour changing jobbies, I can see something red. So I don't know. I don't want to piss these lights off by fucking with the sensors. But the point is that one for some reason just wants to go red. It's old again, the other old one. And if I try and change the battery, it's still a bit finicky, but I keep it out because it hasn't completely broke. The ones that seem to stay on all night, again, is that lithium one. That new-ish sort of rose-coloured one next to the strobe light. It was that was doing the flickering, but it's normally these two that do the flickering. Maybe that one will do it, but I think it comes on earlier, so it may come off later. It may catch that flickering if we're careful. I don't know what's causing that red glow at the bottom of that 3D light. Unless it goes dim and then goes off. The smaller dome lights at the back, only a couple of them properly work, even though they do work with a battery. So they're just a bit shit. The bigger dome light's better. That bigger than the two black ends that are candle lights, they're not too bad. But they seem to be outperformed by the strobe light. Yeah, the strobe light also doesn't stay on all night, so far in April at least. And neither does that, but it's better than, say, that goes off fairly early. These two at the side, these colour changing ones without a diffuser with bubbles, they stay on all night, but I had to whack that one to get it back on. So far that 3D one, bizarre thing, I wouldn't spend money on loads of them, but it does seem to stay on all night for the time. And that little gold one, that design I would avoid mainly buying those solar lights because they don't last in my experience. On average, Powerland sale, and they tend to be about £1. Although a lot of the solar lights you get, it's hard to get a decent one in today's climate because they're just fucking expensive. Not expensive rather, but you're lucky to get, nowadays especially, a decent solar light. 10, 15 years ago you had a better chance. I first knew of them about 15, 18 years ago, and they mostly were yellow lights. They quickly went white, but a lot of them were sort of plastic solar lights with a yellow bulb, like 2003 and 4, because that's when they were quite new. And then they quickly started having metal ones and white bulbed ones that you still get. Well, they started having different ones now. They've had colour changing ones for at least 10 or so years. They started to come around. I think they were originally the expensive ones and then they became cheaper. Probably about 10 years ago they got cheaper. So yeah, these things work. But it's hit. Solar lights are good in my view, but they are hit or miss. Price can be a good indicator, but again, you can't always guarantee it. I don't know if we're going to see any go in strobe mode. It'd be quite funny if that little one does, but it may not. May have missed it, because it's only a little light. Dog's chilling out. Yeah, it's all real. When did I last make a video? Oh, I won't go. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. Keep coming back to that. Yeah, something's flashing. I told you. See that? I knew it because it comes on earlier. I knew that would start flashing. And that is exactly what I meant about some of these other lights. That one might not have been stroby, but those two are. And they only do it for a minute, they get slower and then they stop. I think they do that when they've died in the night, and then suddenly the sensors turning them off. And they go a bit schizoid for a minute. You even see that on the leaf one. I'm glad I've got that on video. I managed to get that one doing it once, but it's not good enough. Literally as soon as I turned the video camera on, that one stopped doing it. So yeah. That's not bad. Yeah, I told you they get slower. Start really stroby. In recent times, at least. I think there were lights in the past that did it. And I'll tell you, not all of them, but some of them yellow bulb lights that you'd get in like 2003, 4, 5, they would often do a little flash every now and again when they died, but that was when they were still on. Sort of to indicate the battery had died. So yeah, I've waffled on about these lights quite a bit. I don't think you're going to see the candle ones or any others doing it. I've not seen it. It's more the sort of some of these NAFA ones that don't last all night. To be quite honest with you, seem to be the ones that do it. It cheapens. It was a few years after they started being sold that I found they started getting a bit. Some of them were a bit seedy, and from there you'd start getting ones in the pound shop as the years went on. So yeah, a brief history on solar lights. It's a bit niche for some people, but I just thought I'd do it. A lot of people's lives, I'll just say, a lot of people's lives have been affected by the lockdown. In some ways mine has, but what I think does it just as badly is people who end up tangled up in the bloody judicial system. That's just as... Imagine that, what COVID, that gave people a taste of it. Just a taste of it. But thankfully without the same stigma that they get for people that are sometimes involved with courts and whatever. Fucking nightmare. It'd be funny if the strobe light did it. It'd be like... Psh, 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 psh. Like a fucking... It's like a dawn bloody rave with the solar lights. It's quite funny. Yeah, these are alright. Like I say, these are alright. Solid lights. Who could fault them? He had a bit of a glow. That dome light you can see still on. I don't want to put them on again. You look really subtly at the top. There you go. See, it's still on. It's one of the first ones to come on. The others turned off like 15 minutes ago, so you see it's about that, and then it'll come off in a minute. I'd reckon about 5 minutes that'll be off. So yeah, it was quite funny seeing the strobe light effect a couple of minutes ago from that little... I did predict that if any were going to do it, it'd be that little small one. And the bigger one, that colour, it's alright, stays on all night. So yeah, I won't drivel on. I probably could make the video longer and film when that dome light I was on about turns off, but I'm not going to bother with that today. Right, yeah, cheers.